Man fatally shot by police at Rollington town home. A man was fatally shot by the police at his home on Monique Street in Rollington Town, Kingston on Tuesday morning. The deceased has been identified as Akeem Chance. The circumstances surrounding the shooting incident are not clear at this moment. It's understood that the incident happened sometime after 5 a.m. According to residents in the area, Chance was not a troublemaker. Chance is at least the ninth person fatally shot by the members of the security force since the start of 2025, according to statistics by the Independent Commissioner of Investigations. Truck driver killed in Portland crash. A truck driver was killed following a crash along the Orange Bay Main Road in Portland on Tuesday. Police sources said the trailer truck driven by the now deceased slammed into a commercial building which housed a bar and club at Wharf Lane in Orange Bay about 10:55 a.m. According to the police, the truck was reportedly traveling at high speed, failed to negotiate a corner at Wharf Lane, and the driver lost control and slammed into the building before overturning. The driver was cut from the mounted vehicle and was pronounced dead on the spot by a doctor. Another man who was in the vehicle at the time of the accident was rushed to the Anota Bay Hospital in an unconscious state. Motorcyclist succumbs to injuries from crash in St. Mary. A motorcyclist died at hospital from injuries sustained in a motor vehicle crash on Monday along the Renova Main Road in Stewarton, St. Mary. The police say about 2:15 p.m., the unidentified motorcyclist was traveling east along the main road when a grey Honda Accord motorcar entered the roadway from a minor road. The motorcycle collided with the rear right section of the vehicle. The motorcyclist was thrown from the motorcycle and sustained severe injuries to his leg, midsection, and upper body, including his head, said Commanding Officer for the St. Mary Police Division, Anthony Wallace. The injured motorcyclist was transported to the St. Anthony Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The St. Mary Police are urging all motorists to exercise caution on the roads, adhere to traffic regulation, and prioritize safety to prevent further tragedies, Wallace noted. Security Minister says murder rate remains high, but progress made in addressing crime. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says progress has been made in addressing crime, even as he acknowledged that Jamaica's murder rate remains unacceptably high. He noted that 19% reduction in murders last year, saying the murder rate has placed Jamaica seventh among Caribbean countries. The National Security Minister was providing an update to Parliament on the government's crime-fighting strategy, which he said has shown some results. He stated that the country is now seeing the impact of a deliberate and consistent focus on improving the security forces and providing them with the required tools and manpower. Dr. Chung said the police have adopted a high systematic approach to disrupting criminal gangs. Some 300 individuals associated with violence have been identified. He said there are some 150 unresolved conflicts across communities that are being tracked by the police.
So we ended the calendar year with a total of 1,141 murders, a reduction of some 260 or 19% when compared to 2023. This translates to a murder rate of approximately 40 per 100,000, placing Jamaica seventh for the first time in a long time in the Caribbean countries. While this is unacceptably high, we must acknowledge the progress made. And this is against the background where the criminal purveyors of violence seem to be spreading their wings throughout Caribbean and Latin America, and we have been taking it in the opposite direction as a result of the effort of the government in strengthening the security forces and putting them in a position where they can fight the significant criminal activity around criminals around us who are bent on violence. A chart shows that many islands ahead of us that used to, unfortunately, were islands with years of peace and quiet. We take no joy in their trauma, but it reflects a trend that is worrying, and the fact that we've been able to go in the opposite direction tells us we are beginning to do things correctly. Focused deterrence is a policy in which the security forces track the elements involving criminal activity. It's a structured program, and I could say in this house without calling names and numbers, of the first batch of the 300 that they targeted, 2/3 are currently before the courts. Because what we have is a police that is operating as a police force, with investigators, combining intelligence with investigations, and the operations team. And when they are targeted and we build the case files, they end up in court once they realize the police are them. A number of them, of course, flee the island. Some 20% have, in fact, fled the island because they know we have identified them. And a number, of course, would in fact engage the police in combat, and they have met their demise. But it's a smaller number than would suggest in their targeting operation. In addition to that, the police is following 150 unresolved conflicts across various communities, and they monitor and track them.
Labor and Social Security Ministry disbursed over 700 million without eligibility criteria, says Auditor General report. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security (MLSS) has presided over a financial assistance program that disbursed over 700 million to persons without any funding limits or eligibility criteria for beneficiaries, the Auditor General's Department (AUDG) has uncovered. The Short-Term Poverty Alleviation Project was originally approved as a 4-month intervention in December 2013 to address rising poverty levels. It was to provide financial assistance through entrepreneurial and compassionate grants to vulnerable groups. However, it continued without cabinet approval and unchecked, dispersing 726.4 million between 2017 and 2024, according to the Auditor General's report Performance Audit of the Government's Social Welfare Regime. The report was released on Tuesday. The auditors revealed significant lapses in oversight, with no established eligibility criteria, benefit limits, or mandatory social assessments to validate the needs of beneficiaries under the project. The lack of established eligibility criteria, benefit limits, and social workers assessment create an environment of little or no transparency, the audit report stated, adding that the problem exposed the project to persons who were not in need undermined the project's impact. It added, the absence of these basic guidelines also heightened the risk of misuse of funds and potential mismanagement. This underscores the need for prompt remediation by MLSS to ensure responsible stewardship of resources and targeted support to only genuine vulnerable individuals. Between 2017 and 2024, Ministry records showed payments to 32,399 beneficiaries. The number of beneficiaries skyrocketed by 160.5%, moving from 3,345 in 2017 to 2018 to 8,717 in 2023 to 2024. The audit found repeated payments to 867 individuals totaling 54 million, with some beneficiaries receiving as much as 1.5 million. In one instance in 2021, it said an individual received 3 separate payments of $500,000 on the same day. Another beneficiary was paid $907,500 across 5 transactions between 2020 and 2024. Despite these large disbursements, the Auditor General said the ministry failed to validate the recipient's needs or verify whether funds reach genuinely vulnerable individuals. The absence of these basic guidelines heightened the risk of misuse of funds and potential mismanagement, the report warned. The report also criticized the project for duplicating efforts already covered by the ministry's rehabilitation program, which provides similar financial assistance through a more structured process. Both initiatives offer compassionate, emergency relief, and entrepreneurial grants, among others. This duplication of efforts created inefficiencies and added unnecessary costs, the report noted, while calling for a consolidation of overlapping programs. In response, the ministry admits shortcomings in the administration of the project. The MLSS accepts that the mechanism for administration of the STPA need to be strengthened, the ministry said, adding that it has since implemented mandatory needs assessment forms as part of a new procedural document. However, the ministry cited resources constraints. The MLSS does not have the social worker capacity to verify an additional over 30,000 grants if noted. It said there are plans to consolidate its grants program by the 2025-2026 financial year, which will end in March 2026. The Auditor General underscored the urgent need for a robust monitoring system and clear operational guidelines to prevent further misuse of public funds. It criticizes the MLS's failure to conduct any review of the SDPA's effectiveness over its decade-long operation. Significant sums were disbursed under this program without any monitoring to determine the impact, the report stated. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.